it's pretty. I like how they played the fact that he wasn't there, so it kind of left it open. Like Shane didn't really get a chance to really get the revenge he probably wanted. All he could do is just basically come out and talk because there was nobody there to feud with. So they might have could have did a segment like this for John Cena, like you said, via satellite on Raw, to at least have him respond back to what Reigns was saying. But anyway, getting back to SmackDown, it was just. I mean, it was pretty decent for what they did. It was a little step down from what took place the last 2 weeks with Shane and KO actually getting physical, and then Vince coming and then him jumping on Vince. But I guess that just got him through another episode because they were working from 6 weeks out from their pay-per-view, so it's like a month and a couple weeks. So they got to do some things to try to stretch it out. So I guess this was just one of those things that they had to do. To do that, but it got the point got across. We all know KO's not sorry, and we kind of see that Shane is kind of more. Yeah, like, I'm just ready to fight you now. I don't want to talk. Exactly. I'm a man of few words at this moment. I'm just ready to get you Hell in a Cell, get my hands on you.
So, and it also, like I said, plays into KO's role because, I mean, now that he did something wrong, he beat up the chairman of the company, you expect for him to run now, being that he's a coward. So, for him to not be there, that played into his role, even though, like I said, you would want to see him get physical, but like you say, they still got 3 more weeks until their actual pay-per-view, so you kind of have to change it up to keep it fresh because if not, we would get like how they do it the tag titles, make them fight each other every week until the actual championship match.
Yep.
So,
then we saw, before we get to the main event, Dolph Ziggler coming back out with these entrances again. Now, I was really offended because as my childhood, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, like...
Yeah, he took a real bad shot at Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, he did. Like, Shawn Michaels, is, like, a lot of you don't know, that was my all-time favorite wrestler. Like, and I love the whole spiel with the DX, him and Triple H. Like, that's my childhood, bro. Don't pick at my childhood. Like, don't talk about Shawn like
exactly. And anybody else who don't know Shawn Michaels is like how we were, or this will help you understand what Rusev did earlier. The kick that Rusev did to Randy Orton to win. He did the Shawn Michaels Sweet Chin music, but they can't call it that because it's not Shawn Michaels. But that's basically what he did to Randy Orton, and that's the inventor of that super kick altogether is Shawn Michaels. So, yeah, it was really bad, man. He specifically did Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and then DX all together. So
I like how when he came out, he was like, "Man, it takes a lot to spit that water out and to come out with my mom jeans on." And I'm like, "Oh man!" Yeah. And then he was like, I forgot exactly what he said about Shawn, but I know he was picking the fact that DX was like, "Oh, I'm old and I still just want to revisit my youth by coming out saying corny jokes."
He was like these old
acting
fathers.
like immature old fathers doing this. I'm like, all you care about are these entrances. You don't care about the
actual
wrestling in the ring and stuff. He's hitting at this, so I'm thinking eventually. Somebody, like you hit at Bobby Roode, possibly.
It has to be.
Because he has one of the...
Yeah, he's the only extravagant entrance person
so
right
I think they're leading up with that, but it's just like how many weeks do we have to see this now? So hopefully Bobby Roode comes back next week.
And I guess this might be the idea. The fact that it's going to come until Dolph Ziggler keeps doing entrances, keep doing random entrances, until he finally does Bobby Roode's entrance. And that actually brings him out to come against Dolph Ziggler. That's the only thing I can see since they're holding Bobby Roode for whatever reason, which is aggravating.
And the thing is too, like with Ziggler talking about Shawn Michaels, dude, you use his move. Like you use the super kick. Like,
exactly.
You do pretty much the same thing he does. You go in the corner. You may not do a little stomp until the person gets back up. Yeah. But you pretty much do the same.
And win with it. Like that was his special that was his alternate special besides his little zigzag move. Like
don't try to come for Shawn Michaels. I mean, that's a legend. Like he's the greatest wrestler to me of all time. So like don't come for Shawn. Like you kind of made me upset last week with the Warrior. Now you picking at Shawn. Like Shawn, that's just
like after he did Ultimate Warrior, I'm kind of okay with these other two because like they're living like I know worst case scenario they can come defend themselves if they really want to make it personal.
And did you see how he shot at Triple H? Talking about now I can go run NXT now.
Yeah, that was good. Man. That was a good shot. That actually was a good shot.
I said, boy, Triple H come in there.
He gonna destroy Dolph Ziggler,
bro.
Yeah,
Like,
that ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, but he kind of still doing this entrance thing, so I'm anxious to see where that's gonna go. So now I guess we can get into our main event.
Yes, sir.
Which was a fatal 4-way. A lot of these over the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
We're gonna see another one. No mercy.
Right.
Fatal 4-way: Tamina, Naomi, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch. The winner, number one contender for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, to face Natty at Hell in a Cell. To me, I like Naomi, but her attire is just too much. The glow, it's just too much.
Just feel the glow, man.
It's to feel the glow, but it's just the way it's getting to be much for me. I understand some of the stuff glowing, but it's just way too much. I'm not feeling.
So you didn't like when she had the glowing
title? I'm not.
So you didn't like when she had the glowing title?
I really would. I mean, it's like a prop. It's like you really gonna degrade the championship like this.
Oh man!
But story for another day. Tamina got off to a fast start.
Yeah.
We saw some good action in this match with the women. A beautiful moonsault by Charlotte from the top rope
on two of them.
On two competitors on that.
I think it was Naomi and Tamina.
Yeah, actually. It was. Charlotte always gets up to a good height on that thing and lands perfectly. She's botched a few in the past with some of her rivalries with Sasha Banks. I was like, oh, you're going to kill yourself. But she's gotten better at hitting that moonsault. What else did you pull from this match?
Man, it was, to me, all in all, it was just a good match. I know they had one little spat where everybody just was pretty much taking out each other in the middle of the ring. I remember Charlotte spearing, I want to say Naomi again. Mm-hmm. And then everybody had a little coalition of like going into each other's submissions. Remember Charlotte hit the figure 8 on Naomi again, and then Becky Lynch came in and tried to hit her I don't know what the
disarmor. I think disarmor. That's what they call it.
And I think that was on Charlotte actually. Mm-hmm. And so I like when they do that. Like everybody kind of comes in.
You also saw a lot of reversals and stuff in this match too. So I think the SmackDown Live women, they have better chemistry in the ring than the Raw women do.
Definitely.
I mean, because you can't really do a lot with Nia Jax because she's solid weight, so you ain't gonna be doing all this high risk stuff with her.
But she can move. Now you remember she did that front flip, a front flip.
I remember that.
She ain't did it again, but I like when she did it that time.
Yeah, she just solid. She thick.
Yeah, she really is.
You ain't gonna pull all that off with her. And even with Bayley being smaller and stuff, she doesn't really have a lot of moves in her arsenal either. I mean, Sasha's probably the most athletic one they have over there.
I don't know, man. Alexa Bliss is pretty good.
She can
when she really wants to fight.
When she really wants to fight, but they're making her more of a coward champion over there.
That's true.
But back to this. I mean, Tamina's got a mean super kick too.
Yeah,
she
did.
Everybody needs super kicks, man.
I'm telling you.
I mean, Shawn Michaels' Revolution. Man.
He really did because everybody uses the super kick. One way or another. Almost everybody. And
then what ended up happening, we all knew Lana would get involved. She pulled Naomi out of the ring. Naomi kicked her pretty good. And then as Naomi got back on the apron, Tamina levels her with that super kick I was talking about. Knocks her off the apron.
Ooh.
And then Charlotte gets a big boot.
That boot was nasty.
She doesn't do the natural selection anymore. I like that move better.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
She kind of like rolls over and flips you on the other side. I like that better.
But I don't know, that boot, because it wasn't like just like the typical like Kane and Undertaker boot, or test boot, where you just hold your leg straight up and just run. Like hers was like she lifted her knee up and then full extended on the face. That was, oh my God, that was beautiful to me.
Yeah, she really hit that and really leveled Tamina. And so now with Charlotte getting the victory, I think I'm not surprised Charlotte won here. I feel like she's been gone for a while, so that's why they got to integrate her back into this. I think the whole Natty Naomi was just to try to fill her until Charlotte got back. We always know that's why Charlotte came to SmackDown Live to contend for this belt. So now we're going to have another rivalry with the Harts and the Flairs again doing battle. And what did you think about Charlotte winning?
Oh, I mean, I kind of expected it, and she came back. I like her coming back and getting into the picture because she actually had to fight for it. You know, even
They
though
just
like
didn't throw her into it,
right. And then on top of the fact that she literally, even though she wasn't injured, she was gone. For the sake of her father, Ric Flair, which is good to see that he's recovering well. And I just like I said, just her winning it. I like her winning her contendership. Which also, this is going to be a one-on-one match versus a fatal 5-way that we have on Raw. So I'm definitely glad to see that. And I feel like these two actually have good chemistry. Natalya and Charlotte. And
it should be a submit. I wish they would make it a submission match.
They should.
Just because of the sharpshooter, the figure 8.
Right.
Their heritage with the figure 4 and the sharpshooter, I really think they should make it
that would be nice to see.
Match. Put some kind of stipulation on it. Which submission move is the best. But I think, for the most part, I think it'll be a good match. I don't think Natty's going to have the belt that long. No. I think it's going to be a short reign for her.
She might lose it at Hell in a Cell.
She could, yeah. But, I mean, as far as that goes, we know Charlotte's now the number 1 contender. We heard Shane's response to Kevin Owens. We never officially got a U.S. title match. SmackDown was still kind of blah. We saw Jinder Mahal come out with the same thing from the week before. So
right. And you know what I realized? 2-hour show had 4 matches.
That's it?
4 matches.
You're right. Because what you had...
Randy Orton fight twice. The U.S. title was, basically stopped. And then the tag team. And then the Fatal 4-Way.
Yep. That was it. That's pretty much it. I mean, Monday Night Raw, to be a go-home show, wasn't good. SmackDown wasn't that much better either. No. It seems like some weeks you think, okay, we're getting there, and then all of a sudden it's just like... It's like they take weeks off and they're just lazy.
Right.
And creative is just not really building up these rivalries. They're just
not at all.
Blindly throwing stuff together week by week.
Yeah. 2 things they need to do, I think, to make some rivalries really good. For one, like you said, we need to have more factions back. I mean, they can not like it. I've heard from Wrestle Talk and from their sources they get it from that Vince McMahon really doesn't like the big faction idea. But that wins. That sells. That really sells. I mean, you can say whatever you want. DX was like a major thing for WWE. And then, of course, you had NWO. And then you had the Shield. I mean, even before the Shield, you had Evolution. Yeah, exactly. Evolution was awesome.
Factions. They had the best theme music, too.
And then they did. And when the Nexus came as that whole group with CM Punk at the helm and Wade Barrett and then CM Punk, whichever the order they came at the leader, that was awesome to watch. So I mean,
and then the Authority was kind of a faction,
right?
So I mean, I think that possibly maybe try to revisit that because they have all these talent that you don't see. What is Sami Zayn doing? What is Bobby Roode doing at this moment? Like, or either they're not using them or they're misusing all the talent that they have. So it is what it is. I mean, hopefully they'll start to build more stuff as we get closer to the new year because once we get back into WrestleMania season, we're not that far away from it. So hopefully they can try to figure out and try to get us more excited about these shows each week and these pay-per-views. So
hopefully.
That's it for SmackDown Live. We're going to go ahead and close this segment out. I guess when we come back, we'll kind of get into No Mercy a little bit and talk about who we think will win those matchups. And then after that, we'll get into some other sports. And then we'll finish off with our NFL picks for week 3. Sports moods, 2 Moodys,
1 duty.
Sports.
We'll be back.